in the meantime here, we want to talk about what is in the GOP budget resolution and what essentially is the SAVE Act as well. We still have our live picture there over Capitol Hill, the House and the Senate not in at the moment. The Senate's standing in recess here. So, like I said, let's bring into the conversation our friends there at Fox News Radio, reporter Ryan Schmelz, and also Capitol Hill reporter for Politico, McCarthy. They join us. You guys, thanks for being with us. I know you kind of had to wait there, but we wanted to get this in. This is important here. Ryan, I'm going to start with you. This was delayed, the budget resolution vote, for a day because Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, didn't have the votes yesterday. There were Republican holdouts. So what changed from yesterday to today? It passed today. Why?
I think the big thing that got this to passage, Andrew, was the fact that Freedom Caucus members and hardliners got assurances from the Senate that they felt was enough to get them to yes. They wanted Senate leadership to come out and give them on the record publicly commitments to getting to $1.5 trillion in spending cuts. And that was enough to get just about all of them onto yes. Now, it was interesting, and you kind of saw this unraveling on the House floor as some of these conservative members started voting yes. You saw some more moderate members having a somewhat heated discussion with Speaker Johnson. We later found out that they wanted to get assurances from him that Medicaid and other essential services like that would not face cuts. So I think moving forward, that's what you're going to want to watch. You're going to want to watch to see how these spending cuts work out in reconciliation and see if there are any moderates who are going to be pushing back on some of the ways in which they go about spending.
Mia, to you now, $1.5 trillion in cuts. That's what needs to be reconciled, can it?
I think that's going to be the question for the next few weeks ahead. You know, Congress is on a 2-week recess now, but once they come back on April 28th, that is going to be what they're going to have to hammer out. That $1.5 trillion, it's a pretty steep number. It was something that a lot of senators were concerned about, again, because especially within the House's instructions, that could be up to $880 billion in energy and commerce, which is what designates Medicaid, would have Medicaid cuts. So it's going to be a tough battle. The Senate had tweaked the original resolution because they were concerned about these steep cuts. But we're going to see now that we have assurances from Speaker Mike Johnson, it's going to be a question of if they can really push that across the finish line.
I want to talk, though, about the prospect or the concern Democrats have now that Medicaid cuts will just have to be included in order to get to that magic number, $1.5 trillion. What are Republicans saying about that, Ryan? I mean, that was a major concern we've seen over the last few weeks as these members go back to their districts, and their constituents are very worried about this. We've seen a lot of angry town halls here. Have they contended with the fact that they're going to have an answer about whether or not this budget resolution will include cuts to Medicaid, Ryan?
Well, it's something that a lot of members have said won't happen. Now, I think they're going to find some consensus, at least on an issue like work requirements for Medicaid, finding some type of waste, fraud, and abuse. They think there are ways to find savings there. But there have been a number of senators, Josh Hawley from Missouri is one of them, who said he's not going to vote for anything that cuts Medicaid. And you saw that with some of those moderate Republicans in the House who said the exact same thing. And keep in mind here, Andrew, they have a lot of power. Just about every single member in the House has a lot of power because they can only afford to lose a couple of votes on anything, right, and that can be sunk. So there is definitely going to be an interesting dynamic that we see moving forward where moderates are going to have a lot of power here, but the conservatives are also going to have a lot of power here too if they're not getting the spending cuts that Leader Thune committed to today.
Mia, there were 2 Republican no's today in the House. Victoria Sparks from Indiana, Tom Massey from Kentucky here. And we have seen in the past when these House Republicans go against something that President Trump wants, he threatens to primary them. Have we heard anything like that? What was President Trump's role in this today, if any?
Yeah, I think people were actually a little bit surprised by maybe not as strong of a push from Trump, at least over the last 24 hours. We know that Johnson did talk to Trump last night while he was negotiating with these key conservative holdouts. But Trump did not call a lot of them directly, talking to a lot of these holdout members. They did not speak with the president over the past few days. They did hear from him earlier in the week at the NRCC dinner, where he made his message very clear to them that they should pass this budget resolution. But he hasn't been as vocal, besides just a few Truth Social posts, in regards to at least talking with these members one-on-one.
All right, Mia McCarthy there, Ryan Schmelz on Capitol Hill for us. You guys, thanks so much for your time and for your reporting. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks for having us.